Hello and welcome to Gabbitt Media. I'm Grant Abbott and today we're going to go through UV unwrapping and texturing. So this is taking 2D textures and putting them onto your 3D objects. Now there's lots of different ways of doing that. I'm going to talk about the unwrapping process, which is used when you already have your 2D texture and you know the bits of the model that you want to apply that texture to. Now before I start, it's important to say that unwrapping can, for a beginner, seem quite a complex process and it can be tricky to understand at first. But it is about practice, so doing lots of different exercises, trying things out is really important. Also, this is meant as a complement to the Blender 2.8 fundamentals, so do check out the Blender channel and their video about UV unwrapping, which gives a great intro. I'll put the links in the description. So although this is a beginner's guide, it's not for complete beginners, so I'm assuming you have some understanding of the interface. Also, you can find lots of courses like this, which are completely free, at gabbitt.co.uk, links in the description. So this is what we're aiming for. We're trying to make this fence here. I will go through making the objects, but you can download this model from the links in the description, and the textures are copyright free, so you can use them in your own work. I'll put the timestamp in the description, so you can jump ahead if you don't want to make the model. So what we've got a plane, and we've got 2 posts and 2 cross beams. I've put them all in a collection, so I'll hide those, and I'll go back to the beginning. And I'll add my cube and go back to solid mode so I'm in the same place as you are. I've got the screencast keys down the bottom here thanks to J and M, and I'm just going to resize my cube, so S to scale, Shift Z so it doesn't scale on the Z axis, and make it into a wooden beam. To add a bit of distortion to this and wobbliness to make it look like an old beam, into edit mode, Control R to create a loop cut, and then I'll use my wheel to create a second one. Left click twice, so to set the left click and to set the position, and then just rotate it really slightly. And there I've got a wobbly wooden beam. I'll come out of edit mode, I'll duplicate that, so Shift D, move it across in the X axis, so just press X to move it across, scale in the Y, and rotate around the Y 90 degrees. And I'll scale this in the X just a touch, about there. Move it into position. So now we have our support beam and our cross beams. Now it's important to note at this point, if I press N on my keyboard and go to Item, you can see that the scale is all out. And by out I mean it's not set to 1, so Blender's assuming that we want things to be scaled, and that actually matters for our texturing. So when we're unwrapping, the scale isn't uniform, so it will try and unwrap as if we've got a scale of 1 and then distort the shape. That's tricky to understand, but the important thing to remember is that you need to set your scale before unwrapping, unless for some reason you want your textures to be stretched across your model. So to set your scale, or to apply your scale, you press Ctrl A whilst you're in object mode, so Ctrl A and set the scale. Press that and you can see that they're all back to 1. So this is now the base scale for this object. I'll do the same for this one. So click on that object in object mode, Ctrl A and set the scale. And that all changes these to 1 as well. That can solve a lot of problems for a lot of different functions in Blender. So make sure you set your scale. Okay, so if we go across to the shading tab now, and we can see my object here, let's create a new shader for the beam. I'll press New. And in order to add a texture to this object, we need to plug a texture into the base color. So here are my textures, and I've downloaded these textures and they are copyright free. I've put them into one texture so we can use that for the top of our beam and the middle parts. So I'll be using this texture here which combines them both, and I'll upload that for you to use. This is my Photoshop file and this is my PNG. You can use Photoshop files in Blender, but they're quite large, so I've exported it as a PNG, and I'll drag that in and then I'll hook that up. Now it is showing on my beam, and that's because when you add a cube, it automatically comes with a UV map, which you can see down here under the object data properties. And I'm going to go across to my image editor over here. I'll just extend it out by going to the middle of my 2 panels, and when the cursor changes, I can click and drag it across. I'm going to change this. Instead of the image editor, I'm going to change it to the UV editor. If I go into edit mode now, I'll be able to see my UVs once I select them all with A, and you can see them just there. And if I select them all in the UV editor as well, I can then press G to grab, and you can see my texture moving across my model. So as a quick reminder, you can see the UV unwrapping going from a 2D object to a 3D object in this tiny example here. And that should just be a reminder from the Blender Fundamentals course, which the link is in the description for. So back to the UV image editor, I can also select faces in here. So let's select a face, grab that, and you can see that's the face down the bottom corner just here. So let's grab that again, and you can see it moving around and distorting. So these shapes are distorted, and therefore the texture around that area is all distorting. You can also see that this one here, if I grab that, you can see that's overlapping the white part, and that's appearing on our texture. So it's all a bit of a mess at the moment, so I need to reposition my seams. But also I need to unwrap this a bit better, because I want the top of my shape to be in this section and the middle parts to be in this section. So I'll need to cut it up in a certain way so I can position them like that. So in order to do that, let's go across to the UV editing workspace. Now don't follow along for a second, but if I go back to the shading, because I've got this texture selected, that means it will appear in my UV image editor. So if I go to the UV editing workspace, it's already there. But if you need to find your picture file, you can press at the top here to find your images. I'm actually going to close this image down for the moment so it doesn't cause any confusion. And this is the default if you don't have an image texture already put into Blender. And you can open an image here, or you can press the down arrow just here to get the ones that are already in, or you can create a whole new image here. And that's for things like painting if you want to paint. So what I need to do is unwrap my object. Now there's lots of different ways of doing this as well. I'm in edit mode at the moment, so if I press U to unwrap, there's lots of different options. If I just press unwrap, it doesn't do anything because it's already got a UV map, which you can see just here. If I want to, I could delete this map, and you can see how my texture disappears because it doesn't know how to put it onto my object, and I can press U to unwrap and then unwrap. But it's taken every single face and just plonked them on top of each other, so you can just see my pattern repeated over and over again. So somehow we need to cut this up so we can place sections onto my map over here. So we know that this top section we want to look like the top of the beam. In fact, I'll get my texture back now, so I'll press the down arrow there and click on the image that I've already imported, which is here. So this top face here, we want to be able to put it onto this section here, which is the end of our beam. So we know that we want to unwrap that and make it separate. So what I can do is go to Edge Mode with 2 on my keyboard, or you can press Edge Mode up here, and select these top edges. You can see they're a nice big square there at the moment, because it's already got a UV unwrap. But I'm going to go to the Edge menu and mark them as seams, so mark seams. When you do that, it turns them red. And I'm going to show you what that does, so I'll press A to select all and unwrap once again. Now it's gone a bit strange, but if I press this button here, it will sync up my UV map and my beam. So I'll press this button, and now I can select some faces in here, and it will select the corresponding face in here. So this is my face that's been unwrapped, and that's unwrapped correctly. But the rest, can you see all the distortion that's going on? And that's trying to unwrap this without any seams. So that's what it looks like without any seams. So that's the bottom face just there, if I can click on that. I didn't quite get it, but I got that one there. So all these faces in here, which are overlapping all over the place, I managed to find it, there we go, are all squashed together. So what we actually need is a seam down here to sort of unwrap this middle bit. But we also need a seam at the end to separate this end bit as well. Otherwise it will squash up into a weird shape like this. So you can kind of see when you've got it wrong, when you get odd looking shapes like this. Ideally you're getting fairly rectangular shapes most of the time. So we know this end box needs to be separate as well. So we'll go back to Edge Mode here. And I've got all those selected already. But if you haven't, then just go around selecting those. And then press Ctrl E, which is the Edge menu you can find up there. So Ctrl E, mark seams. So that's another way of getting to that Edge menu. Ctrl E. Now let's try unwrapping again. So I'll select all and press U to unwrap. Now it's done the same thing with the middle here, but we've got 2 panels now, which we can put onto our end beam texture over here. Let's do that for now. I've got the sync still enabled, so if I go to faces in here and select this face, I would be able to move it into position like this, and I can then scale it up. And you can see I'm getting that end panel texture here. I can do the same with the top one as well. So let's select that. And you can see it's in the white area at the moment, so it's completely white. And just press G to grab, move it across, Maybe move it into a slightly different position, somewhere around there. Although having said that, you can see this dark area here. I'll talk about that a bit in a second. So move it across to that dark area so this split here is visible. At least one of the top or the bottom. You can do that as well if you're following along. So we've still got the problem with the middle faces. So if I select the middle faces, I'm just pressing Alt click on one of these edges and I've selected all those middle faces. Alt left click is to select a face loop if you're in face mode. Now you can see that's this section here. And again, it hasn't got a seam, so it's trying to unwrap it, and it's sort of looking from the top and squashing it down like it's a Coca-Cola can that's been sort of crushed, and it's squashing it flat like this. So what we need to do is mark a seam down one of these sides. So I'll go to edge mode again. I'll select the edges here and press Ctrl E to get to the edge menu, mark seam. Now if I select all with A and unwrap, you can see it's looking very different. Now because I selected all and pressed unwrap, it unwrapped my original ones as well. So I'm going to undo that and show you that you can actually just unwrap parts of your model. So if I go to face mode up here and deselect the top and the bottom, and now press U to unwrap, it will just unwrap that middle bit. Can you see my original faces, which I've already moved, are still in position? So you can just unwrap parts of your model. So here's the middle part of my beam. Let's scale that down and move it into position. And you can see that my beam or post is now correctly shaded. I'll deselect all by double tapping A or press Alt A, and let's analyze this shape a little bit. So it's looking okay, looks like a beam. Let's just quickly go to object mode so you can see it in its full glory. But as soon as we look at the top, we can see that the seams are visible. So down here there's an obvious seam, and certainly here where this dark patch, which is a split, is, and it should go down the side here as well ideally. So what we're going to need to do is reposition this top face so it doesn't hit this dark split down here, and then the seams won't be so obvious. We should be able to see the seams down one side as well, and it looks a bit like there's a split down there, which doesn't really work. But this, I think, was our seam. It doesn't match up quite. It's not too bad though, and it's not too visible in that case. The bottom we can see a sharp edge here, and the thing about seams is they're a bit unavoidable in cases. And that's why you try and hide your seams as much as possible. So if you're doing a model and you're trying to unwrap lots of different places, you try and put your seams where there's a natural break in a texture. So let's say it's a character and they've got a belt. You might put a seam around the top and the bottom of that belt where two materials meet, or you try to hide them as best you can. So in a moment when I come to unwrap this one, I'll probably choose one of the underside edges where we're not going to see it so well. So let's go back to edit mode, select this top face, so make sure I'm in face mode, select that top face, and I'm going to move it across so it's away from that dark patch there, and then back into object mode, and we can look at our seams. They're not as bad as they were, so that's a better position for our UV space. So let's practice that again with our middle beam. So let's select on our middle beam. Now this beam is actually tucked in to our post here. So really I don't need these end faces. So let's go into edit mode, into face mode with 3, and select that end face. Quickly go to wireframe mode with Z on my keyboard and select that face as well with shift and delete those faces. Okay, so we've got a very slightly different shape now. Have a think where you would mark the seam on this, or does it even need seams? Okay, so let's try unwrapping it without any seams. A to select all. It's already got an unwrap in fact, but if I press U to unwrap, it's squashed it all in, so something's gone wrong. So again, it's trying to unwrap it, but there's no seams, so it's still all joined together, so it's crushed it like it's a Coke can. So it's got no split, so it just doesn't work. So let's go to edge mode, and let's choose one of these bottom edges. Remember that we're trying to hide our seams, so Alt A to deselect all, Alt left click to select an edge loop, and Control E to mark seams. Select all, U to unwrap, and there we go, much better. Let's go back to look dev mode so we can see our textures, and it hasn't come up. Have a quick think why it's not come up. That's because we haven't added our texture to our object. So let's go back to the shading tab and make sure that we've got that object selected, and we can press this down arrow here and find our material that we made. Back to the UV editing tab, and now we can see it. But we can see the grain's going the wrong way for one. It's going up and down, like it was with this one. And it's overlapping this area, as you can see here. So let's, with all our UVs selected, if they're not, and you might have your UV sync selection button disabled, you'll need to select them all with A, and then rotate 90 degrees. So R90, and press enter, and then just grab it and move it into position. Somewhere around there looks quite good. And let's have a look around our model, and that looks great. Obviously we've got that seam down there where the texture is going to join, and that's this edge and then the top edge here, but it's not too noticeable. So we've done reasonably well. So I'll give you another few tips for creating the fence. If I want to create another crossbeam, I can just duplicate this one, so Shift D and then Z to pull it up. And it's exactly the same as the other one. It shares not only the shape, but also the texture and the UV unwrap. So let's just move these into position. I'll grab this in the Z, grab that in the Z, and rotate it in the Y slightly so it looks a bit distorted. I might have to scale this one up as it's sticking out slightly. So S, then X twice to go in the local X axis, which actually is up and down in this case. So let's try Y twice. Nope, Z twice. There we go. There's the local Z axis. I will explain that slightly. So I've just scaled it up in the local Z axis a little bit so it digs in there. But remember we looked at the item transforms here. It's already got some rotation on it. So the local axis was all a bit weird. The reason I was using the local axis, if I just go scale X, it will distort as it's scaling in the X because I have rotated it a bit away from the X axis. Don't worry if that doesn't make much sense. It's only a tiny change, so it doesn't make too much difference here. But I thought I'd explain that anyway. The only problem is it looks very similar to this one. So what we can do, we can rotate it around the Z axis 180 degrees. And that will show us the other side. I can obviously rotate it back in the Y if I want to have it that way up again. But this time they look different because they're from a different side. And just rotating your beams like that can make them all look different. So let's duplicate this one, Shift D, and grab it in the X axis, move it across to around there. And I know this fence doesn't make a lot of sense really because it's digging in here and how has it fallen down there. Let's not worry about that too much. You might want to keep your end posts and have the wood on the front here if you like. But you can see this post looks the same as this one, so let's rotate it around the Z axis 90 degrees this time. Do something slightly different, and you can see they look different. So let's just move this into position for rendering. So let's grab it and move it above the floor. So 1 to go to front view, grab and move it so it sits above the floor, and then add a floor. So Shift A, add a plane, scale that up, and let's get into a position where it looks good for rendering. I think I've already changed the rendering settings slightly, so there's the render tab. Yours might look slightly different without any ambient occlusion like this, and mine's got a bit of ambient occlusion. The other thing that's worth changing, let's go to the shading tab, just move into a position where we can see it better, click on our object so we can bring up our texture details. I think it's worth bringing the roughness up and the specular down just a touch so it hasn't got that glare coming from the top. And there we go, we've got a wooden fence. Now we can easily select a section, Shift D, X, and move it across, and maybe rotate this slightly, and we can create a fence. And there we have it, unwrapping a wooden fence. Hopefully this exercise has improved your UV texturing abilities and has helped you along the way to creating wonderful looking models. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.